Some places are not just bricks and dust. They breathe the emotions once lived there and echo the voices that time never silenced. This is not just a story about an old railway station, but a tale soaked in fog, loss, love, and longing. A silent testimony to the undying bond between a mother and her child. On the outskirts of the city, beside an old forest shrouded in thick fog, stood an abandoned railway station. The tracks were overgrown with grass, and the building itself stood silent with broken windows, like a forgotten piece of the past. People whispered that at night, a strange lullaby-like tune echoed there, as if someone were singing a song, carrying the weight of unfinished memories. Aditya, a young photographer, obsessed with capturing untold stories through his lens, was drawn to this station after hearing many legends of a train that never reached its destination, a passenger who never returned, and a mother who kept waiting for her lost child. One hazy evening, Aditya stepped into the station, his camera flash ready to unveil the secrets hidden in every shadow. As he entered, the air was heavy with the scent of old wood and damp earth. The walls were covered in moss, and water dripped from the broken ceiling. The silence was so profound that he could hear the sound of his own breath. Aditya moved slowly, each step echoing through the empty space with the soft click of his camera. On a broken bench, he found an old, crumpled coat. Peeking out from its pocket was a small wooden doll and a folded piece of paper. On that paper was an incomplete poem that immediately drew his attention. The poem was a mother's aching cry, the pain of separation from her child, and the desperate hope to be reunited. But it was unfinished, as if the words themselves had been lost in time. He read the final line of the poem. "My little angel, I wait for you, right where you..." And then, nothing. No name, no date, just an unfinished plea suspended in the air. As Aditya read those haunting words, the silence around him deepened. And then he heard it, a soft, sorrowful melody drifting through the air. A lullaby, a mother's voice calling for her child, not with hope, but with an unbearable ache. It was so touching that tears welled up in Aditya's eyes. Suddenly, the old clock tower above the station creaked, and its rusty hands began to twitch. The clock was frozen at 12:05. At that very moment, a strong gust of wind blew through the station. The coat slipped from the bench, and the wooden doll rolled away from it. Aditya picked it up and turned it over. On its back, a tiny name was carved, Aman. That name sparked a memory. Aditya had once heard of a train accident that happened at this very station years ago. A mother was traveling with her young son, Aman. The accident left the mother critically injured, and Aman went missing. The mother waited at the station for years, hoping, praying that her son would return. But Aman was never found. Aditya suddenly realized the poem was hers. That lullaby echoing through the fog was her song, a mother's eternal call to her lost child. And the clock? Perhaps it was frozen at the exact moment of the accident, or the last time she saw Aman. As the realization settled in his heart, Aditya saw a faint shadow at the end of the platform. It wasn't a person, just a wisp of a figure wrapped in mist, moving away slowly, silently. He felt it was her, the mother, still searching, still waiting, forever trapped in the fog of incomplete memories. Aditya closed his eyes and let his heart feel the depth of that sorrow. When he opened them again, the shadow had vanished, and the station was silent once more. But the place was no longer just an abandoned station. It was a monument of a mother's boundless love and the lingering pain of a child who never returned.